Welcome everyone to another episode of Tech Talk. I'm your host, Earl Eustaquio, but you can call me Earl.
And I'm his co-host, Joshua Redita, and you can call me Roy. We'd also like to mention that we have AJ, Angelica, as our third co-host, which will handle the game section, so stay tuned.
We're your host and you're listening to the Tech Tok Podcast, where we discuss technology and gaming.
I'm Roy for the tech.
And I'm Earl for the talk.
So, we're still in the middle of the pandemic. No end in the quarantine for now. So, let's just put that aside and celebrate this month's Buwan ng Wika.
That's right, there are a lot of things to talk about in the confines of our homes. So let's get those Pinoy pride hats on and get this started.
Good call.
Yeah,
Let's begin this episode's Tech Section. Let's go!
Yeah, let's get right into it. But first, let's go with the off-topic or the Banter Section, which is of course named off-topic. So, about Pinoy foods, like, since again, it's buwan ng wika, so syempre naman, kakain tayo dyan ng mga namimiss nating mga street foods, parang kwek-kwek, taho, at saka turon. Minamiss ko na rin yung banana Q. Tagal na sobra bago nakakain na. So, naka-quarantine tayo eh. So,
imagine not eating imagine not getting to eat banana Q.
Yeah, yung like kasi ano eh.
Big
dito,
flex.
Okay, big flex. Roy, kwento ko kasi. Back then kasi, like, I used to live in an area where there were always street vendors, like, selling banana Q, kwek-kwek, and taho, everything you can name. It was always just walking distance. You could buy some and go home. There was even sisig in our area. Like, there was a karinderya near us. But now where I live, kasi that was back then in Cordillera, my old house. But now, here, basically in Pasig, I don't have that luxury anymore. We have a karinderya next to us, pero it doesn't serve like taho, and it doesn't serve banana Q. It rarely serves banana Q because like a lot of people actually buy the banana Q because it's really good. Like it sells out, I guess, in the first 30 minutes. Like as soon as there's banana Q, you can see people lining up outside our village just to get banana Q. And like for me, banana Q is a luxury nowadays, especially taho, because one thing I took for granted back then before the pandemic hit was those, alam mo yung mga ano, yung mga mama sa labas na merong ano, like these two giant cans that look like ano, like I guess I'll just call them milk cans na sumisigaw ng taho like in the morning, and like you have to go outside and be like, kuya taho, like they have to wait outside your gate off when you have to go get money. Yeah, those are good times, man. Those are good times. So, do you still have those things in your area, Roy?
Not the taho vendor, but everything else, yeah.
Oh, you have everything else. Alright, dude, like, I feel like really, really sad now. Like, that taho vendor doesn't come back anymore. Like, I'll just call him Kuya Taho. Si Kuya Taho hindi na dumadaan sa amin. And I feel really sad because I used to love having taho with my breakfast in the morning. Like, I would make an omelet and also have taho next to it, because after you have like a bite of cheese omelet or something, then drink some taho. Oh, it was a luxury. It beat every 5-star experience in the comfort of your own home, man. Like, yeah, it was 5-star, dude.
I guess that's the downside of being in a gated community.
Yeah, that's true. Pero at least dito mas tahimik kasi sa dating neighborhood ko, marami kasing mga no good doers. Like, I mean, basically the bad people. Yung mga maingay, and also there were always couples fighting. At least dito, the least I have to worry about is yung kapitbahay namin, which is most of the time yelling to each other. But you know, that's more or less it, really.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so speaking of street foods, Roy, ano yung pinaka-paborito mong street food natin? Like, ano yung pinaka-paborito mo? Like, if you could name one, what would it be?
I'm gonna guess champurrado.
Oh, champurrado. Sarap nun, dude. Especially like when you're like just want to relax, wait for like your parents to get home. So Don Bosco kasi, like we from our old school, diba? Back then we just have to go to Louis Mars and like we could order whatever we want. And while we were waiting for a service, we would just eat it outside. Those were good times.
Yeah.
And also,
yeah.
And like another thing is like on the topic of favorite foods, I would have to go with kwek-kwek. You know, yung mano. But kwek-kwek is really, really tasty. Like, I've enjoyed it ever since I was a kid. And I remember back then, my mom and my sisters would actually bring home like plastic bags full of kwek-kwek and we would just eat them all. Like, it was so good, but honestly, for me, it tasted better when you had someone to share with. Kasi alam mo yun, nagkwekwentuhan lang kayo habang kumakain kayo, relaxing, and especially during the quarantine, it's hard for us to get kwek-kwek, pero like, the few times we do, most of the time nag-end siya in like 2-hour-long conversations na nakwekwentuhan lang kami. And for me, like, I've never felt so closer to my family, and like, I felt so close to my family in those moments. So anyway, Roy, what were you saying?
No, I lost it halfway through, so I just let you continue.
Alright, I'm sorry. Go on. So, on the topic of sweets, like, what's your favorite like pastry from our country? For me, like, yung pinapaborito kong pastry talaga is yung ube. Like, alam mo yung putong ube? Like it's basically puto pero it's in ube form. And no, it's ube in puto form, baliktad. And meron siyang maliit na cheese sa taas. And when you bite into it, like, the sweetness contrasts with the saltiness. Like, it's so good.
Is that puto bongbong or is that something else?
No, this is different.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
hindi siya puto bongbong. Kasi yung puto bongbong, kailangan mo pa parang coconut shavings doon sa taas, diba?
Yeah.
Yun yung masarap. Yung puto bongbong. Like, that's another dish entirely that I still enjoy. Pero ang paborito ko talaga is putong ube, which is more or less ube in puto form. And what makes it so tasty?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I told you I made this mistake, Roy. That's my favorite dessert. What about you, Roy?
God,
it's hard to decide, isn't it? Yeah, it's so hard to decide. Go on. It's so hard to decide.
I don't think I even know the name. So.
All right, can you describe it? Describe it, and we'll play a bit of charades here. Okay. Tao. Joke lang. Okay, no. Okay, no, can you describe it? Ano ba yung itsura niya?
I don't know. I forgot.
Okay, so let's
just leave that for now.
As a mystery.
I'll just put mine into champorado.
All right,
okay?
so that's for all you listeners out there, try and guess what my co-host Roy's favorite Filipino dessert is, because right now it's a mystery, a little something to keep us on our toes and keep us guessing. So in terms of like household dishes, like, all right, so let's move on to another one. In terms of household dishes, what's your favorite like household dish you make? For me, it would have to be sinigang, because honestly, when I was a kid, mahilig talaga yung pamilya ko sa sinigang. Like, we would eat it almost every, like, I think 2 or 3 times a week because of how good like my mom makes it. Like, most of the time, I would find myself like, I would never turn down sinigang, but eventually, nakakasuya siya, but I would find myself eating it. You know what I mean? Like, kahit sawang-sawa ka na, you end up eating it because of how good it is. Like, for me, I really like yung asim niya. Kasi especially, it's good for any occasion, kahit mainit, kahit malamig, especially now, since bumalik na yung ulan, like, na umuulan na siya, it's really good now, since it's really cold, and you can just enjoy some hot, sour soup, baby. Like, ano namang other things, like, marami kasi mga ibang dishes na ginagawa rin namin eh. Like, I think, sinubukan yung mom ko, like, she started making nilaga again, which is a while, like, which I guess we hadn't had in quite a while. I guess we had it like 2 months ago. Yeah, she finally made nilaga again, which is really good. And I think yung isa talaga na hindi na namin ginagawa is tinola. Masarap talaga yung tinola, but it's a shame we don't make it anymore. So anyway, Roy, what are the signature dishes, like the Pinoy dishes you have in your house?
The one that I like?
Yeah, I like personally, yes.
Caldereta, I guess?
Oh, caldereta. Dude, that's so good. Like, especially like if they get the sauce just like it's not too, like, hindi siya masyadong maalat, and it's not too like bland. Oh, it's really good, especially with hot rice, like freshly cooked rice, diba?
Very.
Yeah,
very.
Yeah, it's very good. Like, you just pour it on top and just enjoy yourself, diba?
Yeah. Very.
Yeah, it's pretty. Alright.
Hey.
Alright, so I guess that's enough of like the banter section of our podcast. So yeah, I guess that's enough of that.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on actually to what we're really here for, what the listeners are actually here for, which is the tech section of our podcast. Yeah, the tech section, right? It's been 10 minutes. I guess it's safe to assume we can move on to the tech section now, alright?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's talk about like basically the local brands we have here in the Philippines. All right, a lot of them are really just reliable. Like I'm gonna say that they're basically okay. If a lot of the fancier offshore brands are basically those dogs you see in the dog show, like all decorated and purebreds and stuff, and you have like a basic, but I can tell you this much, like they're flashy, they're really fast, and they can do a lot of tricks. But what we have over them is that our tech brands is like the kalabaw of the farmer. Sure, it's pretty big, it's not as fast, but when it comes down to it, it's just reliable. It's just old reliable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everyone has an old reliable, and that's what I can say about our tech. It's just whenever when your like new phone fails, this is what you turn to, the old reliable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the backup one.
Yeah, the backup one. So anyway, I'm very sad to say this, but before they disappeared, CDR King was king. Absolutely.
King. Absolute king.
Yes, you could buy a variety of like stuff there. You could buy solar panels, you could buy lamps, you could buy like adapters,
Keyboards, CDs, of
even
course, it's in the name.
Yeah, even CDs, you can even buy disc burners, and probably the funniest one I saw is probably the like laptop. Like, do you know the you could buy like
the Alienware one? Nah, it's a fake, but still.
Yeah, it's still laptop. Can't go wrong with laptop. It's still reliable. It still types. It still can connect to the internet, and it still has a friendly user interface. And also, like, what do you think would happen to CDR King, Roy? Why do you think they just disappeared out of the blue?
I guess it's competition and the increase of more quality products from other brands.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I guess it's a form of like market natural selection. Like, it's a form of like.
If you've noticed, I guess a lot of their business falls upon like rebadging stuff, like those CDs that you see. It's the sake of their name. So I guess that's one of the reasons why.
Oh, but still though, CDR King, why did it have to go? Where will I get my cheap adapters from? Alright. Okay, so
or those cheap flash drives.
Yeah, those really cheap flash drives. But hey, they may be cheap, but those are part of the reason I got through high school.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to my phone online.
My phone online.
Absolutely, my phone. All right, I used to own a my phone. All right, I'm not sure like what happened to it. All right, because I had two phones with me. I had the Cherry Mobile one and the my phone one, and I can tell you this: the my phone, for what it was worth, was reliable. All right. It wasn't like, I can tell you this, it wasn't the flashiest one. The camera quality may not have been the best, but when it was soaked in rain, the thing kept going. All right, even if you dropped this thing in like a puddle of water, it would still keep going.
Was it a smart one or a feature one?
The my phone?
Yeah, smartphone or feature phone.
I guess probably the one with keypads. Is that called a feature phone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a feature phone, dude.
It's called a feature phone now, so yeah.
Yeah, these my phones like were basically like they weren't close to what Nokia was, but they were pretty close in terms of how hard these things were. Like you could throw them against the wall and they'd still work. All right, that was how good the my phone was. Okay, like these phones were so hardy that if you sat on it, like if you put this thing in your back pocket, like sat on it, it would still work. I'm not sure about like the new brands nowadays, but the old brands now, these things were really reliable and really hardy. So about Roy, do you know anything about like the newest like phones that my phone offers?
I'm in their website right now.
All right, so what does?
Well, they have the usual feature phones and the smartphones. I'm not sure how updated their website is.
But I can tell you this though, Roy.
But I think it is reasonably updated because I see USB-C power banks.
Ooh, hey, that looks like our little my phone is catching up.
Let's see. They offer those phones with dual cameras with
all right,
64 gigs of storage. So
ooh,
I'm guessing it's all right.
That's actually worth the money. And how much are these phones worth? I mean, if anything, my phone should be more affordable since it's made locally.
Moving on.
All right.
Their most expensive phone goes for 5,499 pesos.
Oh, that's definitely worth it, dude. Definitely.
And then their cheapest one goes for 1,799.
See, that's the one thing our local brands have over the like. That's one of the things that our local brands have over the other ones is that since they're locally made, they're cheaper, right? Next, let's move on to another one. Which I call the Willy Revilla special, the Cherry Mobile. Bigyan ng Cherry Mobile.
Bigyan ng Cherry Mobile.
Absolutely, like the thing that people tend to overlook about Cherry Mobile is that despite, alright, I used to own a Cherry Mobile phone, alright, and it was one of those really hard, big, blocky phones that my dad gave me. And the thing was, it had a really powerful flashlight, like at the front, like you could use it as a flashlight as well. Alright, you know the top of the phone, like the very top of the phone, like there was a flashlight attachment there, like just stuck in there. And when you flashed it, and when you used it, it would have this like really, you'd have this really powerful,
light?
yeah, this blinding handheld flashlight. It was a long range. That was that was the masterpiece of Cherry Mobile. That specific phone. It was armored as well, so that means if you dropped it in water, and if you dropped it or just decide to throw it like a brick or something,
I already know that's a feature phone.
Yep, it's not gonna break. It's absolutely hard to break this thing, and it was coated in rubber as well. Like it was a survival phone. Like this was a phone you were supposed to have if you got lost in the woods, and that was one of the phones I had when I was 11 or 12. All right. All of you may have had your fancy little iPhones, but not me. I had the fancy Cherry Mobile, bro. I was the Cherry Chad, as I call myself.
Cherry Chad.
All right.
Wait, I'd want to ask just for curiosity's sake. What year do you think this was in?
I guess if I was since I was born in 2000, I guess probably 2011 or around 2010 or something. Yeah, probably around that. Because that was the time my dad gave me this phone, and this was during my old house, like not like the one I moved in. That was before I moved. Like it was reliable, but I can tell you this much, that it wasn't at all. Like it may have been reliable, but when it came to actually like performance, I mean, it did what you wanted it to do. It got the job done.
Yeah.
But and honestly speaking, though, I would still prefer my smartphone over old Cherry Mobile. But hey, it works as a really good backup, because if you end up dropping your smartphone in water, it's not gonna last too long. But the Cherry Mobile is like a submarine. All right, just for comparison's sake, all right. Like the smartphone I have now is a Ferrari. It goes fast, it goes quick, and it looks better. And overall, it's more convenient. But the one thing but as soon as this thing crashes, it costs, like, as soon as this thing breaks, I have to pay a lot of money for it to get it fixed. Yeah. Meanwhile, Cherry Mobile is like, alright, how do I explain this? It's like a tank, alright? It's slow, it's clunky and awkward, but it's hard to break and it gets the job done. And honestly, you wouldn't...
I think that suits more for their feature phones and not their smartphones.
Yeah. I'm talking about the feature phones, they're not their smartphones. Do you know anything about their smartphones, actually?
Well, yeah, I mean, when I was back in senior high, after class, I would go to LRT1 Buendia station.
And you'd see the ads everywhere, just plastered everywhere?
It's all Cherry Mobile Flare S8.
The S8 Cherry Mobile. Would you want to buy this? But hey, at least, like, I can tell you this. Cherry Mobile is one of the more affordable brands out there. So if anyone wants a smartphone, like, specifically quickly, then I would suggest going for Cherry Mobile. It's a really, like, it's a good enough budget phone. Like, it's a good enough budget phone.
Well,
alright?
Yeah,
alright. So,
yeah,
more or less. So anyway.
It was awkward.
Alright.
Okay.
So anyway, let's continue down the road, right? So now let's talk about, of course, this wouldn't be a Buwan ng Wika episode special of Tech Talk if we didn't talk about our local ISPs, alright? You know, PLDT, Globe, and I know we covered this in a previous episode, but like this time we're just gonna keep this short. We're not gonna talk about like the internet itself, but we're gonna talk about
like pros and cons, not that.
Yeah, not that. We're gonna talk about infrastructure here, alright? Like, I can tell you this much. Out of everyone, PLDT probably has the most infrastructure, since they're the ones that have access to the underground lines or whatever they're called, you know. Yeah. And in terms of that, I guess Globe and pretty much everyone else has less amount of infrastructure. But despite that,
I think Globe is more on the wireless side.
yeah, it's more on the wireless
So
side. Yeah. It is.
PLDT is infrastructure is more on the cabling.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just more on cabling. But the thing
Because-
is that
Yeah.
the thing that people tend to overlook though is PLDT's infrastructure. Since it's cabled, it's way more consistent if you want to call it that, right? But more or less, it's way more consistent since it's wired. While Globe, since it's wireless, it's going to have it'll always depend on latency, Roy.
Yeah.
Like
What I mean by wireless is that what I mean by
alright.
that is that you know how it's PLDT Smart.
Yeah.
We call it like that
Yeah,
since
yeah.
they're the same company. But when it comes to wireless, it's Globe and not Smart.
Yeah, when it comes to wireless,
Yeah.
it's Globe. Absolutely. But
Globe has more service.
yeah, but the problem is again the latency. It really depends on how far the signal they're drawing from is from them.
Yeah. It has to do with, you guessed it, bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy. Yeah, it's bureaucracy, the greatest enemy of man. Alright, you just gotta because with bureaucracy, it takes so much time to just get anything done. Alright, because people are still arguing about it. Now for Converge, since they're fairly new, I don't have much information on their infrastructure, but I can assume that they're packing they're packing a lot of power in probably a relatively small package. I would assume.
So I'm guessing basically the same as PLDT.
Yep. Because think about it. How else
it's
are they
wired,
able?
so yeah.
How else are they able to dish out like 200 Mbps, man, for the same price I'm paying for internet ops? All right. This is
Yeah,
a little
so
jab.
basically...
This is a little jab. It's my
Yeah,
opinion.
so
though.
basically...
Go on.
Wow, I lost myself there.
Alright, go
So
on.
it's basically just the wired infrastructure.
Mm.
Undersea cables, baby.
Yep, under the sea cable. So now let's move on to the overall review. I guess in terms of our technology, Roy, I would say that it's not as bad. What would you say?
Yeah, not as bad. I mean, we could do better, but it's alright.
Yeah, it's alright. In terms of what we can do now, it's pretty good. Like we're met with our basic needs. We can do it. Like like I said, the kalabaw. It's no
Yeah.
fancy racehorse. It's the kalabaw. We're not gonna get there fast, but we'll get there in time.
Yeah, but just like everything, if we don't have another kalabaw, we won't improve. So let's go.
Yeah, let's get.
improve.
Like instead of one, we will have 3 kalabaws, and we will go at Mach speed, bro. We're just gonna zoom.
Zoom at Mach 1.
Alright, so I guess that's all I got for today. What about you, Roy? What do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to be presenting apps by Filipinos.
Ooh, Filipino-made apps. Ooh, Gcash. It's Gcash time, everyone.
Pay Maya time. But I'll be going into the
Alright, go on. You're going into the...
not really well known, but you probably know, but also not that well known.
Yeah, it's not... just like the MRT app. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to
Oh,
MRT
you mean the
app?
LRT app?
Yes.
The LRT app, it's there, but I'm not going to talk about that.
No, we don't talk about that, so go on.
Okay, so the first app,
Alright.
before that, I have 3 categories. So there's health, service, and convenience. So let's go with health.
Alright.
The first one is staysafe.ph.
Ooh,
iOS
alright.
and Android.
Alright, so go on. Tell me about Stay Safe.
Okay, so it's a contact tracing app.
Alright, so what does it do?
Well, it's from the name. It's for COVID prevention.
Absolutely.
You-
Wait. Alright, COVID prevention. So, contact tracing, that means like from the name itself, like you said, I would assume like the way this app would work is that it would probably track the person you were last in contact with.
Yes, that's the basic idea.
Yeah, alright. So, anyway,
You also put in your health information. But get this, there's also a neat feature where you can put in your family's health information.
Oh, so that means like it can track like, okay, if your family members are infected or one of them tested positive, the app will know you were in contact with one of them, right?
Yes.
Alright, so what other features does this thing have?
A geolocation and a heat map feature
Alright, so... Alright,
for suspected cases.
okay, just for suspected cases, okay.
So basically, when
Right.
when there is an area with a significant amount of cases, it would appear in the map.
Oh,
And
it would just
you
appear
can
out of nowhere.
see and where to avoid. See and avoid like that.
So so basically it's more or less just an app that says, okay, this part is safe and this part isn't safe, more or less. And basically it's like, okay, so these are the way I would understand this being useful is for the fact of just for personal user safety, and also at the same time being able to contact like the right people at the right time, you know,
I mean,
especially
not
now.
just that. The way this works really is that when you come across someone that's positive, it will immediately notify you.
Yeah.
And then it will notify other people as well. Like other people, not you.
Is this gonna be like a Monsters Incorporated thing where your phone suddenly turns red? It's like 2319, get him. Like
Kinda.
And then it's gonna glow red and everyone's gonna be like, it's a 2319, contain him, detain him, get him, jump him.
I mean, probably, but it's for safety.
Yeah, it's more or less
Health
for
and safety. And the 1.2 million people that's using this already knows what they're doing. So.
Yeah, they absolutely know what they're doing, especially now. God knows we need a lot of help. Alright.
There's an alternative to this.
What is it?
nCoV.
nCoV, okay, alright.
I can only find an Android page for this. I can't find their App Store equivalent. So,
so
it's
they
probably just Android only.
Yeah, it's an Android exclusive, so go on, tell me about this one.
It's nearly the same as StaySafe.ph, but instead of the family status reporting that StaySafe has, it's only individual health status for nCoV.
So more or less it's just the individual status, so it only tracks you, not really like your family or all that. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
And then there's another one,
Alright, what is it?
WeTrace, Android exclusive again.
WeTrace, baby. Go on.
It's the difference between the other two is that it's Cebu only, and you're required to if you're a Cebuano.
Alright, because of like, okay, I'm going to make a pun here, right? You said it's called WeTrace, right?
Yeah.
But why would our bread be running around in the field? Get it? Wheat race?
Bro.
I got him! Got him good, baby! Alright, so anyway.
Alright, so back to topic. Back to the topic. Okay, when I mean by Cebu only, you're required to if you're from Cebu City.
Alright.
The local government mandated it.
Okay, so it's required. So I'm guessing everyone needs to have this. So what does WeTrace exactly do?
It's the same thing. But instead of you, as far as I can see it in their website information, it's that the health department will be doing it.
Alright, so it's up to the health department to take care of these type of things. Okay. So more or less like, I'm guessing you just send information and the health department will just sort it all out.
Yes.
Alright. That's good. At least
And,
at least they're taking steps in the right direction to fix it.
Yeah.
Go on. What were your
all
about
is
to
good
say?
for those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Unlike the other two, where it requires a phone number to register. So
Yeah.
So all's well there, right?
Yeah.
But here, it requires a QR code registration.
Alright, so what do you
So
need
the app will generate the QR code.
Alright, and then you have to just scan it manually. Alright. I can get behind that. Anything else you got for us today?
Well, those three are for the health. So let's move on to services.
Lifestyle, baby.
Okay, the first, I think you already know. I think some of you guys out there, are already using it.
Oh my god, what is it?
Oh.
What is it?
So, Sakai.ph.
Oh, Sakai. Okay, I use this one. Personally, I use this one. Alright? This is Sakai.ph is the sole reason why I learned how to commute from Pasig all the way to our school in I Academy, which is in Yakal. That's the main reason I learned how to commute from there.
Okay, so from what Earl has been saying, you already know what this is. It's a commuting navigation app.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's free.
I still use it, man. Like, whenever I need to get somewhere, it's much better to just commute there than to actually take a Grab, because Grab can get expensive, you know what I mean?
Very.
So, the thing about, like, Sakay that makes it so convenient and make it is that not only does it show you exactly which forms of transportation you need to, like, ride. So, let's say you need to go from my house to Mega Mall. It's gonna tell you, oh, you just need to take a UV that's from across the street, and then just ride the one that says SM Mega Mall, and then it'll take you to Mega Mall. And to ride back, you just need to take the UV that says Robinsons, and it'll pass by my house, like, or something like that. Like, it does it in that way. And honestly, especially now, like, you know, like the younger generations, like the people younger than us, like, especially them, like they should, like, I honestly, like, they're gonna have a hard time, especially when you're first learning to commute. Like, you know, you're gonna have a hard time because you gotta ask people, you gotta ask your parents, and you gotta memorize where you have to ride. But with Sakay.ph, it eliminates that problem because it shows you everything you need to know from the get-go. Alright, so anyway, like,
well, aside from that, it shows the main and alternate commuting routes. So you don't have to be beholden with one route that you probably don't even know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I always hated it when my parents would only teach me one way to go somewhere. And then when I got there, and it turns out that the bus is full, and I have to end up taking the MRT or something, I wouldn't know how to do it. And I had to ask a friend, or I had to ask a random guard how to do it. Right?
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times. It's a neat feature, and not just the commuting routes is that what they show. It's also the types of vehicles, like what Earl said.
Yeah.
The fares and the possible ETA.
Yeah, the elapsed time for all of you out there, listeners, who don't know what that means.
Estimated time of arrival.
Speaking of which, since we're on the topic of Sakay.ph, Roy, do you mind if I tell just a personal story back in my old days?
Alright.
Back then, I didn't know Sakay.ph was a thing. Like, this is Don Bosco type days, alright? This was in grade 10, alright? Actually, not grade 10, it was grade 8. Yeah, it was grade 8. Alright, it was grade 8. So let me tell you about it. I didn't have a phone at that time, alright? And I can tell you something about what happened there. In grade 8, you know how to go to Bonnie, you had to ride a jeep that said like pretty much any Bonnie jeep, it would go there, right?
Yeah.
But here's the problem. I didn't know that. I didn't know any Bonnie jeep would land where I need to go. So you know what I did? I did the absolute best move I could possibly do. I saw one that said, alright, it said Pasig Quiapo, and I was like, hey, if I can't go to my dad's clinic, I can go straight home. But here's the problem. Tama naman yun, alright?
But you went to Quiapo.
Yeah, I went to Quiapo, alright? Nawala ako sa Quiapo, okay? And I'm not proud to admit it, but believe it or not, I actually went the whole trip, like the whole jeepney trip, hanggang umikot kami hanggang Pasig, okay? It was not fun. Luckily, I had 100 pesos with me, and I had to chat up the driver. He asked me, like, he turned to me and he asked me, boy, ba't di ka pa bumababa? Like, malapit na matapos yung trip natin sa Quiapo, tapos nandito ka pa. Like, he was asking me, ba't hindi ka pa bumaba? And I told him, kasi dapat Pasig ako, kuya. And like, he laughed at me. And he said, nice. Hindi ka pa marunong? Sabi niya, Iho, hindi ka pa marunong? And I was like, hindi po ako marunong eh. First time ko lang kasi. Tapos sabi daw niya, okay, ganito kasi, Iho. Yung mali mo, ito, in-explain niya sa akin, this guy was really nice, even though he was laughing a bit. He was like, ito kasi mali mo, Iho. But kapag papuntang sa bridge, like papuntang Santa Mesa, hindi ka dapat sumakay doon ng jeep. 'Di ba? Like, hindi ka dapat sumakay doon. Like, dapat, ang gawin mo is pag sasakay ka, dapat sumakay ka papuntang like yung papuntang Bonnie, yung papuntang JRU, dapat doon ka sumakay. 'Di ba? And like, ako kasi hindi ko alam yun, so I ended up going around Quiapo. He kept me company. He was like, onti na lang makakauwi ka na, alright? Nakamali ka kasi ng sakay eh. And I was like, okay, thanks. And I ended up paying around, I don't know how many trips that is, but I think I paid around 70, 80 ata. Yeah, 70 or 80. And the guy was like happy to oblige me since I was paying anyway, and he felt kind of sorry for me. Alright? And I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm a paying customer. I don't need your pity. Correct?
Bruh.
Alright, but more or less, it was really nice. And when we got there, like, we got to my actual stop, it was already around 7 or 8 o'clock. Alright? And he was like, Yo, next time Pasig Quiapo, and then like he drove away. Next time, wag papuntang like next time wag papuntang bridge. And I'm like, okay. And then like I walked home, and my parents were like, what like why did it take you this long to get home? And I was like, and I told them the whole story, and even they laughed. Good times.
Good times.
All right, so anyway, anything
This is
else?
why Sakai.ph is a game changer.
And actually, believe it or not, because of Sakai.ph, I got over my fear of going the wrong way. Alright?
Nice. Well, that's a story.
Alright?
That's an educational story for all of us.
This is download Sakai.ph or you'll end up like me. Napadpad pa ako sa Quiapo.
And it's iOS and Android.
Yeah, iOS,
Okay,
Android.
moving on.
Mm.
There's MiCab, not affiliated with Xiaomi, and
Alright.
Auto.
Alright. Oh wait, Auto. I think I know about that one. So go on. Tell me though.
Okay, both are iOS and Android apps,
Mm.
and both are ride-sharing apps.
Oh yeah.
But what differs is that MiCab is a taxi hailing service.
So you have to hail. Okay, it's just for
It's
hailing.
basically just an app for hailing taxis.
Alright, sweet.
And Auto is like Grab, where it's a private car ride sharing.
Yeah, but I actually tried Auto's like cab fare. Like I actually tried using it, and I can tell this much: like in rush hour, it's more or less the same price as Grab. The difference is it just takes longer for the cab to arrive. All right, that's the main difference. It just
That's the downside for being a smaller company. So
Yep.
I'm sure it will improve.
Yep, it will improve. Hopefully it does, because Grab needs competition so that they'll lower their prices again to the good old days when Uber was in the Philippines. The good old days, dude, when Grab actually had competition, alright? Back then, like, the fare was lower for Grab, but now,
Every time.
yeah, those are, like, now, it's so expensive now. Hold on, I think we're experiencing a bit of technical difficulties because my partner here keeps cutting out. Alright, so anyway, you were saying? I think you stopped at saying, like, I think it was the Auto. Yeah, you were with the Auto.
Alright, so I'm guessing with time they'll improve.
Yeah, they'll all improve, man. Especially now, Grab needs competition. As I was saying, back then when Uber was prominent and was like really prominent, Grab had to lower their prices and had to make their service a lot better just to compete with Uber, because the thing about, and that it was sort of a back and forth thing. Uber had to compete with Grab and Grab had to compete with Uber. Like, it was a back and forth thing, and honestly it was really good for the both of them, and more importantly it was really good for us, like travelers, since it's hard to commute here in the Philippines. I'm going to admit that it's really difficult just to commute here in the Philippines, man. Like, absolutely. So what do you think about that, Roy? What do you have, like, yeah, don't you think, like, can you what's your experience with that type of thing, Roy?
Back when Grab and Uber were still here.
Yeah, they got so many good deals, right?
Yeah, the deals are really the driving force.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember when Uber put out like a deal, like a student discount, and Uber put that out. Grab was immediate to hop on that bandwagon. We're like, hey, use our service because we also have that, right? And they were going back and forth. Like, back then in Uber, if you racked up enough points, believe it or not, it was Uber that started it, but Uber made it so that you'd get 100 pesos off if you had 500 points. And that was like half of what Grab does now, diba? You need 1,000 points, diba?
Yeah.
Just for 50 pesos off, and like I think even more for just 100 pesos. Like, that's why like Grab was like, hey, we can do that too, alright? We did it too, so now come to us. Like, it was so good for us. Like, it was really good. And I really hope these apps actually like really begin to improve on what their infrastructure, like their apps, on their actual like services, because it can be a real game changer. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Anyway, you got anything else for us today?
Okay, I have the third and final one for this services subsection is that services section, is Squad Zip.
Squad Zip. All right. Tell me about it. Well, what does it do?
But unlike the other apps and the apps that will follow after this list, it's mainly for business.
All right. So, okay, it's more for the working man, right?
Yeah.
The working man. All right.
All right. So Squad Zip is a Filipino startup. So hell yeah,
Alright.
Pinoy pride.
Yeah. All right.
And
So,
it's a company management app.
all right. So, can you explain to me how it works? Right. I'm actually very curious to know how this works. How does it work?
Okay, so it's a teams management and collaboration platform. So
We're gonna
think of
need
it
that
as
because we're
think of
software
it as
engineers.
think of it as like Trello, Messenger, Slack,
Yeah.
the Microsoft Teams, I guess, in one.
Yeah, we're gonna need this in the future because we're software engineering students. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
And they also have data visualization and analytics features. So it's gonna be handy. Well, with those analytics features,
Okay.
this will be really valuable for startups. So
Oh, absolutely.
free trial. So if any one of us game changers and other podcast listeners out there who's probably in this business,
Yeah,
should probably
absolutely.
try it out.
I should give it a shot. What's the app called again, Roy?
Squad Zip.
Squad Zip. All right, we're not sponsored. Okay, so anyway, anything else on the list?
Let's move on to another section. Convenience, the final one.
Oh, convenience. Okay. Is Shopee gonna be a part of this list?
No, everyone knows that. Everyone knows that app.
It's you every 5 minutes when you wanna watch YouTube video, it's Shopee time. It's Shopee time. When you wanna browse Mango on the internet, it's Shopee time. Alright? It's never not Shopee time. So anyway.
Lazada. Okay, so the first app is going to be Q Mobile.
QMO. Alright, so what does it do?
It's an Android-only app, as far as I can see.
And?
And it does. It's a scheduling and reservation app.
Oh, alright. So basically, like, what is this? Like to reserve at what does it reserve for actually?
You'd think it's for a restaurant, but
Yeah,
no,
I
it's
thought
not.
it was a restaurant.
It's not. It's for banks and customer service centers.
Oh, that's gonna be so useful, man. Yeah, I don't like. Do you know the pain it is like when you arrive at the
wait.
bank? Yeah, and you gotta
And you have to wait against a lot of people.
And then they close at 4 and they have a lunch break at 12 and you end up getting really frustrated like I wish this was faster.
Okay, and you're in luck because you can
Alright.
schedule the specific branch. You can
Ooh. So it's gonna make the process like the bank walking like a lot faster. Now you can deposit, withdraw, or just basically
And you-
do all of your banking needs, right?
Well, yeah, and
You said queue number, right?
yeah, queuing number.
Yep. Alright, so that means like you just have to show them your phone and you can go straight in, right?
Yeah,
Oh, it's so convenient, man. Now you don't. Now, for everyone out there who has banking or needs to do some banking, you're going to. Actually, I might show this app to my mom to make things easier for her. What's it called again?
Q Mobile.
Q Mobile, absolutely. Alright, so anything else?
Second to the last for iOS and Android, Go In.
Go in? Alright. What does Go in do?
That's a local hiring services app.
Oh, alright. So, I guess so. It's basically like, is it like a job finder? Or
Not
something
really. It's basic. Well, kinda, but kinda not.
Really. It's not really. Kinda, but
It's
not really.
basically. It's basically.
Alright, what is it?
Want your air conditioner repaired?
Yeah, of course.
You can find the repairman in that app.
Oh, that's gonna be, that's so convenient because yung mahirap talaga is pag wala kang kilalang mga tobero, wala kang kilalang mga yung mga nag-aayos ng aircon, electric fan. Ngayon, dito pwede mo hanapin na doon. That's so convenient, dude.
Yeah, and it's Metro Manila only, so if any listeners out there who's outside Metro Manila, maybe they'll expand.
Yeah, maybe they'll expand, but dude, like, alright, that's so convenient. It's so easy, dude. So, you got anything else for us?
I have the last one.
Oh, okay, what's this one? The best for last, I assume.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's an iOS and Android app named Now Serving
Alright,
by Serious MD.
alright. What does Now Serving do?
Well, it's basically, remember Q Mobile? It's
Yes.
basically that, except it's for
Yeah?
for clinics.
Oh, it's
Medical
for...
scheduling and reservation.
Oh, that's gonna be crucial, especially now, dude. Like, this app will make it so easy for you to find a doctor. I mean, because right now it's so difficult to get one, but with this, it'll make things at least a little easier. It's not gonna be easy, but it's going to be easier. You know what I mean?
And you can establish a communication with your clinic or doctor to you.
Oh, that's gonna be so. Yeah, absolutely. I can see this app being really, really useful. So anyway, got anything else for us today?
Well, that's all I have.
All right. So now let's move on to basically the best part of our section, which is the 5G internet introduction to the Philippines. And this one, I'm excited about this one, Roy. Are you excited for this one?
Well, yes, but phone prices aren't.
Yep. Phone price. Wait, are phone prices gonna skyrocket because of this, or are they?
Well,
gonna...
yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah. The cheapest 5G phone that we have right now is the what's that? Huawei Nova 7, I guess.
All right, so it's 5G.
I'll research it later.
Yeah, more or less. I'll just assume. Okay, basically 5G.
It's 19,000. It's 19,990, and that's the cheapest you can get.
All right, basically 5G phones are hella expensive. All right, that's all we can say. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So the one thing. All right. So with the introduction of 5G, all right, it's not 3G, not 4G, but 5G internet. 5G basically means that it's a lot faster and a more reliable internet mobile service for your phone. That means you don't have to be at home. That means you don't need to have a subscription. Well, you kind of do, but you know, it's...
Well, you need it, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a convenient subscription because you can do it from your phone. And what's important is that you can do it anywhere in the country. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I found the phone. It's the Huawei Nova 7 SE 5G.
How much is it? 19. You said 19, right?
Yeah, 19,990.
And that's the cheapest. Dude, that is expensive. I could buy like 7 Big Macs with that. Anyway, moving on. So, what this could mean for, well, us, let's just start with the people who have phones. I mean, the rich people, wink wink, who have these like 5G enabled phones. What this could mean is, one, it would be easier for you to do research or look up something on the spot. It'll be easier for you to browse the internet while waiting for, let's say, a bus. Well, you know, waiting for a bus to get home, or you're just waiting for someone, or you just need to wait for a bank in general. Like, this will make it so that it's a lot faster and more convenient for you to do things like Facebook, or what the kids call these days Tech Tok, you know, not Tech Tok, TikTok, sorry.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, or like they can basically go on Twitter and, you know, start an argument with someone online. And then they can watch YouTube, you know, watch that top 10 Vice Ganda moments that made us lol. You know, those wonderful things that everyone does in their free time, you know? Alright? Like, that's what 5G could mean for us consumers. But more importantly, it'll make it so that finding a Grab, or basically any type of lifestyle app, like let's say finding a ride home, ordering food, or even something as simple as looking up the weather, is really fast. And it's just in a press of like a button, like just a tap of the screen. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that.
Yep. And I can really just see this making a huge impact in terms of like productivity in our day-to-day lives, especially now during the pandemic. That's a huge boost, man. Like an absolute huge boost. Now that we're work from home.
Yeah, and it's also mainly for businesses. Even though, like, for us consumers, it will be at best a 20% speed increase.
Yeah.
For businesses, this will enable far-reaching possibilities.
Yep.
So work from home will be revolutionary.
Exactly, dude. And you won't have to risk getting sick and going to work, diba? It's so easy. Yeah. It's so convenient and easy, man. Yeah. And for another thing is that it'll make it so that people can actually work more efficiently and earn money, even though they're like quarantined in their homes, you know? For at least for the people who have like the stuff, they won't have to worry for much, dude.
I agree.
Yep, absolutely, dude. Like, but now let's move on to the real question here. How long will it take before this is actually implemented?
I mean, we already have 5G areas here.
Alright, but where are they?
There's one in Rizal.
Oh,
There's one in...
that's so far away from where I am.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so I'm checking websites right now.
What were you able to find anything promising, Roy?
Let's see. I'm trying to find the locations because there's one in Rizal already. There's one in Cavite.
Yeah. So okay, so just alright. So I assume
there's one in Bonifacio High Street, Taguig.
Alright, so for all of you Bonifacio, Cavite peeps and Rizal peeps, your guys are lucky. You're one of the first people to ever experience 5G if you have a 5G enabled phone. Why does that sound so weird? You know, you're the first people to have to experience 5G, but you have to have a 5G enabled phone. It makes me a little sad, you know, but hey, at least we have 5G.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Hey, speaking of Cavite, y'all remember that one episode where SpongeBob got lost in Cavite?
Oops. Big bawal, big bawal.
Hey, it's just a joke. Don't worry, it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just a joke. Anyway, like, I would assume now that it's actually here, let's give it a span of maybe 3 or 4 years with the bureaucracy, you know? With the bureaucracy.
Yeah, at earliest it'll be 2022.
Yeah, that more or less, let's expect it around that time. But I can tell you this. Have you seen the theory circulating about 5G internet on the with 5?
Please no.
There's one I found in Reddit, and I think it was you that showed me this. It was basically people saying, "Oh, 5G internet, like the 5G cell sites, are what's responsible for the coronavirus spread, like the COVID-19 epidemic."
And you know what they did?
They became
burning it. They started burning them down.
Yeah, dude, like. They start destroying public property over a theory with no ground basis to reality, you know? I
think it's like 70 plus cell towers burned down across Europe.
Why? People in Europe be wild, bro.
Yeah. And it's even worse in America, so rip.
You know, this just comes on, Roy, you know, those seminars that most of us didn't pay attention to, you know, the online, etiquette or the online literacy type thing. Didn't that basically say, this should come as common knowledge, but you're not supposed to believe everything you see on the internet. You know?
Yeah.
Remember, and no, the government isn't controlling us with the radio towers. That reminded me of that theory back then in the 2000s, like the mid 2000s. People are like, "Oh, the government is controlling our minds with radio towers." Like, that's not how it works.
Fun fact, they've been saying about this since like 2G was a thing.
Oh, well, yeah, basically that should give you a basis that it's not real, right? It's just, if it's a theory, it's a crazy theory, alright? And another thing, this one, okay, I'm gonna put this in words that's actually, I guess, safe for work, but there are people who also believe 5G makes people play for the other team, you know what I mean? Do you know what that terminology means?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It turns them gay, alright? I'm just gonna say it blatantly.
Yeah.
There's a theory that happens, and for me, this is like the Alex Jones approach, where he said like, "Oh, they're pouring something into the water to turn the frogs gay," alright? It's just insane banter, right? Anyway, that's enough of that. Now let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's get back on topic, right? That's just a little like side note here to keep our viewers, just to keep our listeners from listening in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep them listening in. All right. Now, what this means for the future? Well, for the future, honestly, Roy, I can see this becoming a tool to help increase our productivity. I can see this as a tool for us to make our day-to-day lives easier. I can also see this as a method for us to be able to work more efficiently and do it way quicker than before, and make it so that it's much more like easy. Like it's a lot easier to do these things, like the things that we normally would have a hard time doing, you know? What do you think this holds for the future, Roy? I've already assigned my spot, like my parts of like the audio, for my parts of like the actual my actual thoughts. Sorry. Yeah, my actual thoughts. Sorry.
Okay. While this may be a marginal improvement for us consumers, it will be game-changing for business. There's only nowhere else but up.
Yep, there's nowhere else from here, man. Absolutely. And I think that's all I got for you today.
Yeah, I guess we should turn this over to AJ now.
Yeah, I guess that's all we got for today, right? AJ, take it away.
Take it away.
Thank you, Roy. I'll be handling the salakots from here. Well, hello guys, it's me again, AJ, and we'll be deconstructing a game today. For our second episode of Tech Talk, we'll be having a special guest, Mr. John Berlin Almanon, who is the lead character artist of one of the games we are going to deconstruct today. For our first game, we'll be having The Ward, and the second game would be Bayani. Alright, a small background for the game The Ward. The Ward is by Proofread Fire and is in the popular page of itch.io, a site where indie game developers publish their game for free during game jams or just out of fun. The Ward was also featured in one of Markiplier's video, 3 Scary Games number 42. Alright, without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Mr. John Berlin Almanon, a 4th-year student of the BSEMC GD course of iAcademy, lead artist of the game The Ward and It Lies, in which both were featured in Markiplier's YouTube channel. Good day to you, Mr. Berlin Almanon.
Yes, hello.
So
Good day to you as well.
Thank you for joining us today in our Tech Tok podcast. Right,
Alright, thank you for having me.
I have some interview questions for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Alright. First question is, why is the game The Ward named that way?
I don't know, because we don't really have an idea for like the ward, because like the whole concept of the ward is like big, like people in that game are crazy, so might as well name it the ward because we don't have any time to like name it properly, you know.
Oh, basically the setting is in the ward, so you named it after the setting of the game.
I guess so. It's not really a ward, but it's like a metaphysical place. Just a place filled with crazy people. Like, what's a place filled with crazy people? A ward, right? So we named it a ward.
Understand. Alright, so The Ward is a very interesting game, and I haven't seen anything quite like it. So, what genre are you going to put this type of game?
I won't say it's horror, but it's not really horror. It's a horror game that's not scary. Okay? So I'd like to think that it's if I could make like a not funny horror game or not scary horror game, that's what its genre is gonna be.
Alright, since we've already established the genre of the game, so what is the storyline about?
Well, I'll talk about how the ward was made. So we're supposed to like make a game in a span of a month for our game jam, and that specific game jam is called Jamcraft, and it was made like last year, Jamcraft 2019, Jamcraft 2 specifically. So we were already working on like a zombie defense game for like 2 months already, so I've made a lot of assets. So the problem with working with people online is that you don't really know about their like in real life commitments. So like we had 10 people or 12 people working in that game, and by the time it's gonna be like the last 5 days, we just figured out like there were only 4 of us active in the group. So we were like, okay, let's just rehash whatever we have right now and start making a new game in the last 4 days. And that's how the ward was made. So we wanted to make a story that's unconventionally told to people, and we wanted to be in the same crazy horror aspect where you play as this guy who just woke up in a weird world that everything seems so scary, but it's not really. Basically, you wake up in a metaphysical world trying to discover your own past, and it's a place that we can relate to Limbo. You get to meet like all of these weird characters that like has a representation towards this specific character's life and stuff like that.
Right, so you said this was a metaphysical world that seemed like a horror type of game, but it's not exactly a horror type. So having this type of design aesthetic, Is it does it symbolize anything? Does the pig symbolize someone or something or a type of person? And
Yeah. Cause the characters there, first you get to meet the first character named the pig face. Yeah, we call them pig face. He's like your own Virgil, right, in Dante Alighieri, where he guides you through the levels of hell. It's kind of like that, but I'm pretty sure he's like a representation of a big father, right? Then you get to meet like no, his representation was a brother or like yourself. It's either one of those. I forgot. It's been like a year. The second one for sure you get to meet Babyhead. His idea was like he's your abusive father, okay? Because when we think about like parents or abusive parents, they're like old people but they act like babies and they don't do anything, and everything that they do, they rely on you. Everything they ask you to do was like so like whenever we think about like abusive parents, right? Like they're like adults but they act like babies. Like they're like adults but they can't do anything. They always rely on their children to do their bidding and stuff like that. And then next we got to meet Jitterbug, okay? So once we got to meet Jitterbug, he's just like a representation of the player's addictions and vices, okay? And I forgot why our lead designer wanted to add like the toaster. It was supposed to be in a tub, and he'll the only way to stop his vices, which is the cigarettes, is to like end his life. And I forgot what's the meaning for that, and it's like open for other people's representation. And the last one was Mother. Mother was like the false carrying character of the story, where at first you feel like she's homey, but then you know like even though she's taking care of you, like she has other motives. Like she's not really intimate or like serious about what she's doing, right? And that's all of the characters within the world.
I see. So basically you're in limbo. You meet these people who probably was in your past life and you need to face them again, since it's like a family type.
Yeah. It's like a representation of a family, yeah.
Since I've heard that you're the only Filipino during the development of this game.
Yeah.
What was the feeling of being the only Filipino while developing this type of game, and your workmates or colleagues are from another part of the world?
Yeah. Most of the people who worked on this game are actually from Australia, but our lead, the director and programmer as well, they came from Spain. So not only like sure I can speak like in English, but sometimes I feel like, you know, I can't really explain stuff if I don't like speak in Filipino. But I guess that's okay. But the hardest part is it feels different when you're working online, right? Like it feels different if your workmates are in one office or in one place working on a game. But that's just about it. I feel like I'm just working with friends and we're trying to make this game into like a reality. And we did our best to like follow the steps, and we end up making this game.
Alright, since most of your workmates were from another country and you guys mostly worked online, were there any problems encountered, and how did you guys handle them?
Yeah, for sure. There's always like like problems in terms of like a team. Like we're people, we all have emotions, and we have all our specific ideas, our own specific ideas. Like the best way to like handle those is find a compromise, in my opinion. But when we were about to make the sequel for this game, where it's gonna be much bigger, I already made like a lot of assets and characters already. We worked on it for like a few months, but it's just real life just caught up, especially like COVID was on the rise during those times. But yeah, that's the difficulties of working online. It's just we don't really know like how committed they are, and the feeling is different. Like if like it doesn't feel the same if you're not seeing your colleagues on a face-to-face like basis from like once a week or like every other day or once a month.
Yeah, I understand. Especially you haven't really been with them as a friend in real life. Yeah, the connection's pretty different. I understand.
I mean, we are like really good friends. I could say like the people I met online were really really good friends. It's just like when real life catches up to you, you know, people start to get busy. People start like doing like seeing other opportunities to get actual money, because we're not getting paid. Okay, we're just doing this for like our spare time because we like making games. And sometimes we have to make choices where, you know, for the betterment of our personal life, right?
Alright, so since you've said you guys were working on the part 2 of the game, before releasing that part 2, do you plan to release, or does the team plan to release the game in bigger platforms like Steam or Epic Games?
Oh no, we already disbanded.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
point, yeah. We already disbanded.
Is there anything else you might want to share to like listeners about the ward, the team, anything?
All I can say is that regardless of what your state right now, like even though you're at home or you're gonna have a leave of absence, like game development taught me that if you really want to learn, you got to learn, with or without an educational institution, right? Making learning out of experiences is one of the best ways to learn. And I guess if you guys want to pursue like game development, I guess that's the first thing that you guys should think about, like actually making a game, because the professors in iAcademy is so great, like hands off to them. Like most of the stuff I learned through them, and whatever they taught me is nothing if we're not gonna apply to it, right? If we're not gonna apply it.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
I think that wraps up the word, your process in making the game, the way you handle the team and such, and your journey to make this game one of the most popular games in HIL. So once again, thank you for having the time to be able to join us today, Mr. Almanon, and I hope that you'll be one of the most famous game artist, successful game developer, or whatnot. And
Sobrang
we wish you
salamat.
the best. So we had Mr. Almanon talk to us about his experiences in making the ward, what is the ward, and different things regarding the game he made together with different people from different places, and how it felt like to be the only Filipino in the team. So we had that one Filipino in the pipeline type of game. What if we had a full game filled with Filipino developers and artists? I present to you Bayani. Bayani is a one-on-one fighting game made by Renida Games, or Renaida Games. I'm not so sure on how to pronounce that. and was released on Steam on June 12, 2019, which is also the celebration of the Independence Day of the Philippines. While Bayani is heavily inspired by Philippine culture and history, it makes the game itself very interesting, and this game won an award called the Official Selection of Indiecade 2018. So what makes this game interesting and worthy of deconstruction? First is the aesthetic choice and storytelling. The stages in the fighting game takes place in historical places like Bagong Bayan, which is also now known as Rizal Park. It is where Jose Rizal was executed back then. And the characters are said to be very well-known historical figures who had an impact in Philippine history. So not necessarily a Filipino hero per se. Second is the playstyle we have in this game. So I've read some Steam reviews saying that Bayani is like Street Fighter 5, which is a well-known fighting game. And this is a great start for the game since they made their Kickstarter a few years back and they listened to the advice of the fighting game community regarding how to make their game better, and now they're here serving you the game that you may be interested in and being compared to one of the biggest fighting games that ever existed. Alright, let's go to the fun part. The analysis of the aesthetics and design of the different characters that was said to be heavily inspired by historical figures. I would have my own deconstruction of these characters, and they have their official ones in their website, in which I will talk about later on. Alright, let's start with the most obvious one, their poster boy, their icon in their website, the man you'll see first when you see the Bayani game, which is named Joe, inspired by the national hero Jose Rizal. And for me, what makes him cooler is that he could use his book to make him go berserk, which is also a possible reference to Crisostomo Ibarra, one of his book characters that portrays himself being reborn to Simon, which is from No Limitangere, then becomes El Filibusterismo, which is the books he made back then. And other than that, he uses a rapier in the game, which references to Rizal's fencing hobby. They also incorporated the colors of the Philippine flag, which is red, yellow, white, and blue, in his design to make him look cooler. I'm not sure, but for me it looks cooler that way. Though I would prefer to see him with Jose Rizal's classic black coat, waistcoat, and trousers. So let's take a look at his description in the website. So Joe, his full name is Jose Maria H. Rizal. Fictional history. Sent abroad to broaden his wisdom and skills, Joe's journey back to the Philippines when the news about the daunting threat of Fernando becomes prominent. This caused Joe to have a split personality, whether to become a man who fights with his words or fight with his bronze. Okay, so how does this relate to Rizal? Well, Rizal back in the day was sent to Europe in order to study, which is also same as him. But what's different is that he didn't come back to the Philippines to fight Ferdinand Magellan, which is Fernando, and we'll talk about that later. He went home to the Philippines in order to raise awareness regarding the oppression that's happening. And the other one is the part where it stated that this caused Joe to have a split personality. And this is one of my own deconstruction from a while ago, wherein he becomes Crisostomo Ibarra, that is the Jose Rizal who wants to fight with his words, the Rizal you see in No Limitangere, and the other one is fight with his bronze, which is the Jose Rizal as Simon, which should read in El Filibusterismo. Well, that's pretty interesting, and I think that's a good reference to Jose Rizal. Like, it is a bull. Okay, so next we have is Dre, which is inspired by Andres Bonifacio. He seems to have this Frankenstein monster type character when his body parts are sewn together. Most likely the inspiration for this was the famous quote, "Atapang atao di atakbo, abali kamay di atakbo, abali paa di atakbo." So no matter what happens to his body, he could still keep on fighting. And this quote was always been tied up and affiliated to the Katipuneros. Though from what I researched, Andres' choice of weaponry is the revolver and not a bolo, which makes Dre's character not fully inspired or accurate towards the reference they're taken from, because Andres's weapon is a revolver while Dre's is a bolo. But we also see in famous artworks that Andres holds a bolo, so maybe that's the reference they've got. Okay, let's take a look at the one website. Fictional story. After Dre and his brother was executed, Oria sought the help of Lolang Chara to revive Dre using the remains of his brother to reconstruct his body. Lolang Chara performed the taboo art of alchemy. Blinded by rage, he escaped to hunt down the person who wanted him dead. Wow. So it was a story of revenge for Dre in this Bayani lore. So what makes this the same as Andres Bonifacio's story is, yes, he was executed in a mountain, and it is with his brother Procorpio. I can't say the word. I'm not fond of Filipino names. Anyways, he died there, and it was known that his body was not really chopped into pieces, but his brother's. So, yes. I think they lack on more research with regards to Andres Bonifacio's Bayani design. Though it looks okay. It's just that they could have made it better. First was the bolo. They could have made a revolver weapon for Dre, and since he's like a Frankenstein-like monster with a Katipunero scarf on his neck, I don't know what's that called. I think that's the only one that could make him look like a Katipunero is the red thing. They could have had him wear the salakot or the hat that Katipuneros wore during back in the day. Alright, next is Tonyo. So Tonyo is highly inspired by Antonio Luna. And I'm not fully sure because he looks too rugged in the game. And even if it's inspired by Antonio Luna, the choice of clothes and weaponry doesn't really resemble the late general's aesthetics. I would have preferred something more like his uniform during the war. It would have made him look like more a general than his Bayani design, where he has a lot of bandages. Anyways, from the war, so he has bandages, but he's basically a bit topless without the bandages in the Bayani design. Alright, so we we have the fictional story, the most trusted general of Dre, and the one who strikes fear in the hearts of both enemies and allies. However, the death of Dre left him confused, but Tonyo still continued to push. So Antonio Luna and Andres didn't really know each other during the day, like historically wise. But I guess this would be a cool concept to think about. Like, what if they actually met, since they have the same outlook in life, wherein you should use might in order to win your freedom back. Alright, so that's all for Antonio Luna. Then one of the most obvious ones would be Fernando, which is inspired by Ferdinand Magellan. And he's not really a Bayani or a Filipino hero, but he made a significant impact in the Philippines. I just feel like he shouldn't be there in the game because it's entitled Bayani, and Magellan is not a hero but an oppressor. If they would let Ferdinand Magellan or Fernando stay in the game, they could have changed the title, not being Bayani, but something else like Para sa Pilipinas or something. Since it's story-wise, there was this conflict between Fernando and the heroes of the Philippines. So it's not entirely about Bayani or being a Bayani, because Magellan or Fernando, I keep saying Magellan, Fernando is a playable character. Okay, that's just my opinion and my 2 cents. Anyway, we also have Rio, who is inspired by Apolinario Mabini, the brain of the human sikat. He's known to have polio, so he's also known to be the sublime paralytic and helped in the human sikat. Though I'm not sure in the game why he had to have creature to be summoned like Yuna from Final Fantasy. Maybe because his parents were market vendors and sold vegetables, which tied him up to that type of magic. I'm not so sure. But if you know more about Mabini's history and why is this related, you could comment down below about the correlation between Rio and the plant augments. Alright, let's look at Apolinario Mabini's profile here in the Bayani website. Alright, Rio was a born achiever, but after acquiring poliovirus, Rio pitted himself and developed an inferiority complex. He sought the help of Lolang Chora, who gave him a mysterious seedling, telling him that if he takes care of it, someday he will find answers he's been looking for. Well, it is true he's born an achiever. He studied law, and after getting the poliovirus, that's when he tried to help the Himagsikan and stuff. But I don't think he had inferiority complex. I haven't researched anything about that. And with the mysterious seedling part, that's pure fiction. Though I'm not so sure what inspired the makers to make this some sort of Jack and the Beanstalk style of story. There you go. Alright, next was Leon. Leon, in my opinion, I thought it was inspired by Tiburcio de Leon, who was a Filipino freedom fighter who served as a general during the Philippine Revolution and the Philippine-American War. He also served under Andres Bonifacio in the Katipunan, and he's not that famous unlike the ones I've mentioned earlier, so I don't have much info on Mr. Tiburcio de Leon. But then, I saw the website, and Leon is inspired by Emilio Aguinaldo. Funny. Anyways, his fictional story is that for Leon war isn't just fighting for freedom, but also fighting for greater good. May it be a friend or foe, with his own hands he makes sure to eliminate the people that hinders the greater good. Alright, so I'm not so sure why Leon is inspired by Emilio Aguinaldo. Like the name isn't that related. Like we see Antonio is Antonio, Andres is Dre, Jose is Joe, and it's just a translation. So Emilio, I don't know how it became Leon. Maybe they rearranged the letters and such. Other than that, it's still a debate in the Philippine history if Emilio Aguinaldo was a true hero or not, since there are still debates regarding it. I don't wanna dive too much into it, but since it's a debatable topic, I don't think Emilio Aguinaldo should be in the Bayani fighting game, in my opinion, because I think there are other well-known possible Filipino heroes that could take his place as a fighter in Bayani. Well, that's just my opinion. Then we also have Lolang Chora, inspired by Melchor Aquino or Tandang Sora. So Tandang Sora was the nurse for the Katipunan. That's everything I've known about her, and that's everything I've read about her and was taught in my schools back then. So let's read her fictional story, how Lolang Chora is related or is inspired by Melchor Aquino. So her husband vanished during the war and was declared as killed in the battle. But Chora found out the truth. She committed treason on purpose and was exiled in the southern Pacific, where she trained the art of magic in order to avenge her husband's death and expose the lies to the masses. Alright, design-wise, well, Lolang Chora's design is really vibrant. It's green and pink. It doesn't make her look like she's a magical person. She doesn't, well, don't take this offensively. She looks like more of a circus character or a fun character, not really the serious type. Maybe it's because her color scheme is too vibrant for a dark and mysterious type of vibe. I hope the artists could update this. It would be better if she wore like the traditional Filipiniana or the balintawak, then altered it to make it look like a more magical inspired, like a diwata thing or an encanto type of wear. But other than that, they made her nursing abilities or medical abilities into magical abilities. So I guess that's pretty interesting, and it's very creative for the artists and the story makers to do that as well. Alright, for her story, it's not that heavily inspired by Tandang Sora, but it's something. Like, it's something you could watch in an anime and make you wanna watch it more. It's very interesting that her husband died and now she's seeking for revenge. Though that's not the real story in Melchor Aquino's biography. Not at all. Alright, so much talk about Tandang Sora. We have Oriya. So I'm not sure who Oriya represents in the beginning. I wasn't sure if it's another version of Tandang Sora or Gabriela Silang or some Filipino hero hero I'm not aware of. But, in their website, Oria is Oriana El de Jesus, which is inspired by Gregoria Alvarez de Jesus, the mother of Philippine Revolution and the mother of the first son of Andres Bonifacio. So, Gregoria was the first wife of Andres Bonifacio. Then, her fictional story goes as after the death of her husband, Dre, Oria became delusional and confused. She wanted Dre back whatever the cost. Seeking Lolang Chora's help, she performed the taboo ritual of alchemy. There we go again with the alchemy, the magic type. Dre was brought to life in exchange for her sight, wholeheartedly accepted her fate for love. Damn. Or are we allowed to say that? Okay. For me, her design is pretty questionable. Like, I understand the male characters get to have armor, the cool bandages, Rizal having the Barong Tagalog type of wear. Then we go to Miss Aria here, and her costume is, I don't know. It looks like it could be a costume for a Tekken character, not really for the Bayani aesthetic. It would have been better if she could have had a female type of Barong Tagalog, or a female inspired camisa de chino instead of this full fighting type of costume. It doesn't really show her character. Yeah, it shows that she's strong, but it doesn't entirely show her story, and maybe that's one of the reasons I didn't know who she is the first time I saw her. Like, if she was the mother of the Philippine Revolution, she could have worn something regal or a simple type of costume, simple type of outfit. That's almost the same with Dre. So you could see their relationship with each other. So I hope they could develop on that more, like visual update. I also hope that they could build up on her story more, because she's a very interesting character for me, and we don't always see female leads saving a male character, which Aria did, and it's a very interesting story concept. Alright, next. Oh, she's the last. Yeah, she's the last. Oria's the last playable hero as of now, so we'll end our character design analysis there. Alright, to conclude, there's a lot of good character design choice for most of the characters. Some characters need to be improved on, and overall, Bayani is a really nice fighting game due to its aesthetics. The controls are pretty much the same as the normal fighting game, so I didn't want to dwell on that. The graphics are also nice. They seem to be like 2D, 3D type of aesthetic. Alright, so I guess that wraps up everything for our Bayani deconstruction and the word deconstruction. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys next deconstruction. Again, it's me, Angelica, also known as AJ, your deconstructing here. Did I say that right? Thank you guys.
Once again, that is AJ for the game section. Before we conclude, we'd like to thank Jared Hortaleza for composing the background music of this episode. And now, time to wrap this up.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Tech Talk. Before we leave, we'd wish you all a good Buwan ng Wika.
And we hope you guys learned something new, or we kept you entertained. So, again, happy Buwan ng Wika to ourselves.
Alright, that's all the time we've got. Now, we'll return to playing Valorant on our computers. You're listening to Tech Talk, and that's all we wrote. Also, P.S. Don't get lost in Capo, alright? See you next time!
See you next time.